Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Energy Unleashed podcast with Suzanne and Kim.
Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, good. How about
Good,
you?
good. It's that time of year.
It's that time of year.
Yeah, things are changing and things are going really fast, but hey.
Best.
So typically, if you're a listener, you have noticed that I bring up my client kind of like challenges, obstacles, things like that, my client work, and kind of throw it at Kim.
Mhm.
And I don't let her prepare a whole lot. And we thought we would, we thought we'd turn the tables. So before we were talking about what we wanted to do, she said, "Well, what if we bring up something on this?" And I said, "Well, let's turn the tables. You can throw it at me, and I will be unprepared." But I will still bring in the energetics, obviously, of what we can do about things. So yeah, all right, hit me. Because oftentimes I know that I throw you under the bus and I love your
I
face.
know. I'm like, oh, goodness sakes. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I
Well,
think that that's good because really our listeners are organically listening too. So I mean, I love that, right?
yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah. Well, in my recent couple of weeks, I am experiencing several people in my friend field, family field, like where, different people I'm associated with that are purging. And I think it's really interesting. And maybe I think some of it is this time of year. But as I listen to other, type podcasts, channeling,
Mhm.
different things, March and April were all about releasing and purging. And I find it interesting that, there are several people in my, friend circle that don't really go down the spiritual path so much, but at the same time, they're doing the things that are kind of predicted, with the energy that's happening. And on top of that, the Schumann resonance has been pretty steady, like over 50, 50, 60, 47, like right in that area of energy as well, that I think vibrates. The frequency just puts us in a different place as well,
Mhm.
for purging. And that purging would be more in the like the physical, energetic, mentally, emotionally, whatever, that might be. And so I wanted to throw this at you, Suzanne, because I find it just sitting and observing people that this is really happening, whether they know it's supposed to happen or not.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Great question. I think that okay, let's start at the beginning. Spring is typically, especially if you're seasonal like us, we are fortunate, in my opinion, to live in Minnesota. Whereas my sister down in Arizona, her weather doesn't change much. I mean, it gets hotter, colder, but whatever. Regardless, spring is kind of ingrained in the human's head that this is spring cleanup, or, spring is when things grow and rebirth. And so I think it is a human nature of rebirth. We
Mhm.
can't rebirth until we purge, right? And I mean, there's no room, there's energetically no room. And so oftentimes I think it's a calendar kind of a trained DNA response to the time of year, which I think is a beautiful thing, right?
Was that
It,
associated with an equinox then, right? Is that kind
yeah,
of where
yeah,
that
exactly.
energetic switch or change because the sun is
The
starting to
sun
do its thing?
changes, the vibrations change,
Okay.
and our DNA, remember, we carry all of our lifetimes and the collective in our DNA. And
Mhm.
we know from all, umpteen situations that this is the time when we do this, when we purge, when we clean, when we do whatever. So there's a very autotomic, like automatic thing that the human does automatically to think, oh, this is the time that I do that, which I think, thank God, right? At least in my house. So I think also, especially depending on where you are seasonally, for example, I was in my own healing room and I've been down here for years, and I started to clean one thing and then all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, when I clean that thing, then it's like, oh my God. And then it was like, how much sage do I burn in this room every day on client after client? And I didn't have any clue as to how deep my cleaning was going to be, and turned out days.
Mhm.
So but there's also this need at this time of the year to shed what we have done, especially seasonal people like us, to shed the being stuck inside
Mhm.
for the whole winter period, the realizing how many cobwebs there are, the realizing how nested we've been. Cobwebs are in our home, but they're also in our lives in terms of I've just been nestled in and I haven't had the energy that my body is craving right now. So cleaning the cobwebs in my home is akin to cleaning the cobwebs in my system
Yeah.
as well. So a lot of people are purging in terms of their human system just as much, if that makes
Yeah.
some sense,
Well, yeah.
right?
So when you're talking about like start with the physical part of that because I know for me, it's been really difficult to acknowledge that I really have needs within my physical body that I need to be I'm I'm weaker than I was
Hmm.
than last summer. I've lost some muscle. I've injured my ankle. I've done, I've just, there's certain things that have come up that it's important for me to take this on and move it in a direction where I'm physically getting stronger and part of that is energetically, what am I holding on to
Right.
and how do you identify that?
So when we talk about the human, we have our four fields. Obviously, we have lots and lots of chakras, meridian lines, etc. And we have more than four fields, but to be easy, it's the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual auric fields that hold a lot of our so-called energy garbage. And when we're doing purging, they interact and they interplay. So if I'm going to physically purge, I am going to be going into my emotional or mental field automatically, right? Or if I'm really doing some mental or emotional work, it's going to affect my physical form. So these are interplaying with each other all of the time, and they always are. So when we're purging, it's really important for us to find the real anchors on what I am getting rid of. I mean, don't just top clean, go and find all the cobwebs. Take all the room apart and really go for it and find out where the dirt is under the rug, kind of a thing. So this is very similar to the human. The want to rebirth again is programmed inside of us. The want to, I'm going to change this up now. I'm going to be like the tree that opens its leaves, and I am craving power, sunlight, better food, more water. We automatically are connected to this vibrant system of the earth itself. We are connected to the minerals. We are connected to the inner cores. We are connected to everything. So as the earth comes alive, so do we. And so it's really respecting and honoring that and not just closing your eyes to that, going, I don't have time, I got to go to work, you know?
Well,
It,
you say that, and it's so interesting to watch like the squirrels and the birds, and
mhm.
because the trees are coming back. They're
Yes,
budding. The energy of the trees. I feel like that's a big part of it for me.
huge.
Is it that energy? It totally affects our energy fields.
And remember, the Schumann you said has been stable, high but stable, and that's not even high high. So the
Mhm,
Schumann is holding also the pulse of the earth, going, "Hello, I'm waking up, I'm waking up, I'm waking up."
mhm.
So I think we so underestimate our connection to this planet when we go through this stuff, this purging,
Yeah.
because the earth itself is purging. The trees are purging the old crappy leaves that are still stuck on it or the casing that they need to have the flower come through, etc. That there is an automatic natural nature purge happening, and we are connected to that. You know, babies are being made, eggs are cracking open, all of these. We have baby bunnies in our yard like crazy this year. I mean, it's like you're seeing the rebirth, and it is an automatic, heartfelt connection that we are designed to do. We are designed to have a birth rate of sentient connection. And but we don't understand is that this is part of being human. And we have a responsibility to do our part in our human vehicle. You know, the tree is going to shed the crap to get the new leaf out. Why aren't we shedding our crap to get the new leaf out?
Right.
And oftentimes this is where we get hung up again, Kim, is we'll get hung up in the belief systems. You know, oh, now I'm just going to slip into the victim program instead and just bitch because everybody else gets to take Ozempic and I got to go take a walk, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, it's so easy to just say screw it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be mad. It's so easy to, you know, like everybody else gets it easier than me. All that crap that we bring up in the victim programming will prohibit us from finding our own true joy of the evolution of rebirth. So really, this is the time to not just clean up in terms of purging, but more so purging the belief that's keeping you stuck, right?
And that totally triggered for me. Wow, social media,
Ugh,
really makes this even harder if you're
yeah.
really into watching everybody else. You're not doing it yourself. You're just watching everybody else.
Yep.
So that
Yep.
that would be a great purge,
Purge.
you
Yep.
know, limiting how much time you're actually, looking at everyone else.
And I think purging, remember, humans also, me included, has this great tendency to do everything really gigantic
Mhm.
because we want everything done and we want it done fast
Yeah.
and we want instant gratification.
Mhm.
And this is so difficult because I too am going through some massive changes now because I've closed a really big chapter in my life on some things that were mentally and emotional that I can now move forward from. And I cannot believe how much it's affecting all of my fields. I was astounded at how much I was internalizing some things. And I'm going to say I had to. It's not, it was a choice, but I mean, I had to bury a lot of emotional, mental things for a while to get through this thing. And now that's done. And when you are done and you purge that shit, you're like, holy crap, that's infiltrated toxic mental thoughts, cell structure, you name it. So, I mean, I literally have gone to the extent of understanding this is purge time and it's serious. And I'm talking my own story. You can make your own. I am committing to, doing things differently in the morning. I'm committing back to really doing meditative time. I'm committing to movement,
Mhm.
not constant, but much, much more movement. But what I want to premise is, again, I also, I'm just going to go jump back into the club and do 65 push-ups and then I can't move for 4 weeks. I mean, it's understanding that I'm going to do, 3 wall presses on my way up the stairs from my healing room in between clients. And I'm going to do, a wall stretch when I'm in the kitchen. It's, it's a lifestyle instead of a quick fix,
Yeah.
a
Right.
purge.
That makes a lot of sense.
And we
Because
think a purge is
right.
done and it's not. That's, I think, what I want to get across.
Okay. That is really important because I have a tendency to go big or go home. And if
Oh,
it doesn't happen, go big.
and then I hurt myself and then I go backwards, right?
Yeah,
And so
right.
these are a purge seems to have a finiteness to it. And in actuality, especially in spiritual journeying and health specifically, there is no beginning and end. It's a constant purge. It's an adjusting. The purge can just be adjusting, even for 10 minutes or 2 days or 2 hours. It doesn't have to be a final end result. I'm going to clean everything out of the closet and I'm going to feel better. Yes, you are going to feel better because energy is held in absolutely everything. So the declutter process is real. It is
Mhm.
very important. That's why spring cleaning, everybody's looking at their yards, and then you're like, shit, I'm the one in the neighborhood that still has crap everywhere, and everyone else looks great, and their flowers are popping up, and my yard looks like, the dump. And so then it's pressure, pressure, pressure. But it's
Yeah.
also, okay, your body right now can only like do X amount, and that is important to honor also, right?
Yes.
If you
Yes.
can't do the raking, hire somebody to do it or kind of kid into it with a lasagna at the end of the day. I don't know. Make it work in terms of what your body is allowing you to do in a safe way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was, running around last week, getting ready for the holiday, purging, doing all kinds of stuff. And I tripped on a stair and sprained my ankle.
Yeah.
Just made everything that much harder.
And what does that say? Slow down,
I
So,
know.
yeah,
Made everything harder. But the purging part of it, especially on the material things, I mean, I
super.
feel like you through the year you do, your self work. I go through purging at different times, emotional behaviors, beliefs. But this physical material purging, I had not really done for a while, and man, it feels really good. Like
There's
there's,
a lot of reasons for that, Kim. And
yeah,
that's because, again, stuff holds energy. And I can't tell you
yes,
how many houses that I do that they think that they're haunted or they got crap going on or it feels like junk. Well, okay, maybe hit Goodwill. I mean, this is part of the deal. It's a physical form. And when I open my garage, a 2-car garage, if not 2-car plus a little bit and this, that, and the other thing, and I can't fit a car in
yeah.
because, this partner of mine has a different belief system on stuff.
Mine
So
does too.
I just closed the
I,
garage door and I will not allow myself to have that interaction with that energy because those two belief systems are so completely different. And I'm not willing to do it. I'll park my car outside. I don't care. I'm not going to go into the mayhem and the chaos of stuff.
right.
But I think also the reason why we're purging more stuff, which I think is a great topic that you picked, is that we are also understanding with the frequencies that are coming in and the awakening process that stuff isn't real,
Mm.
meaning stuff is not my root chakra safe.
No,
Okay.
it's not.
Stuff is not my safe. Stuff is not my worth. Stuff is not my enough. And we are finding now that it's like, oh my God, I've been really believing that that means blah, blah. And it really doesn't.
It doesn't. It feels, it just, to me, it feels so good. But my husband on the other side is like, what are you getting rid of that for? Where did you find
Oh,
this? What is that? I'm like, you haven't used this for like 6 years. No,
yeah.
you don't get to keep it.
Yeah.
And so it is difficult when you're opposite of
Yes.
the material world.
Do you want me
Uh,
to give you you want me to give you a secret on that one?
yes.
He doesn't listen to these anyway, so
No, he doesn't.
I'm gonna give you the secret that I've been using for a really long time. I have a really hard time with the stuff, and the stuff is years and years and years for Chuck. And so what I have learned is there's always a child, if you have a child, the grace of a child, if not, it's another relative, friend, whatever, that resonates with that partner. So I have a child or two that resonates more with Chuck in terms of him listening.
Yeah.
So if I say throw that out, he's going to have the fit that, no, blah, blah, blah. But if that child says, Dad, why do you still have that? Let's toss it. He's like, okay. So I have over the years made it a family effort. And I usually do it around Mother's Day, by the way,
Yeah.
thereabouts. And my gift is a dumpster to myself for Mother's Day. And then everybody's gift to me is to come over for dinner and help us purge. And so I have already had conversations on the side. I'll make a pile over here of the stuff that is utterly ridiculous that he will not let go of, I'm sure, if I say it. But there's another way for someone else to say it that he just tosses it right in.
Wow. That's so interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because the partner is always felt as a judgment. The partner is always got way more entangled. There's way more energetic cords. There's history. There's, I'm saying something, but you're not even hearing me. You're seeing your mother's face on there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of reasons that they do not react the way that we want them to react in that case. So find a different voice and a different face that actually, and this isn't manipulate, well, it is manipulation, but it is manipulation in terms of cruel. It
Yeah.
is truly things that aren't needed. And he has, in fact, gone, no, I still want that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like we're ripping the rug out from underneath him. It's silly things from, the 80s. I mean, it's like, why do you have your gym shorts from 1977? I mean, what is that?
This
So,
guy, seriously, my husband, I will do Goodwill and like the sleeveless t-shirt from, Cabo way back in the day with a lizard
yeah,
on it. He will find it in that whole big pile of
yep.
whatever is going. Like it's
It's
so
hysterical.
crazy.
Yeah. I did a thing right around Easter where I climbed in the old cubby hole of all the stuff and I save all I have 4 kids and I save big, huge Rubbermaid things for the kids over the years. And I went in and got specific things for them, kind of surrounding Easter because it was at Easter and some other things. And I had them washed. I washed everything like their blanket and because they're all having kids now. I
Oh,
did their favorite toy, their blanket, their Easter basket, all these things, and I laid everything out at Easter. And I said, "You either take this home, or we will choose to give it away or toss it or whatever." And it was so interesting to see how some people are gravitating towards, "Oh, that's my blankie," or "Oh my God, that thing's horrible. Just toss it." And it made me laugh so hard because I didn't need to make that choice. They made
yeah.
that choice. But
That's
I
awesome.
also don't need to hold on to them because my kids are adults and I would like my cubbyhole back. And so these are reclamation of
Yeah.
spaces also in terms of parenting and or on the flip side, maybe you're helping your elderly parents do this. And remember, stuff has memories attached to it. And
Mhm.
we are having a harder time releasing the memory than we are the thing. And
Right.
yet the thing holds the energy of the memory. So this is confusing for people on why stuff is or isn't important.
Oh my gosh, it is so true.
Yeah.
So true. Because I was just at my parents' house in March and my dad's like, here, and I'm like, Dad, and so I'm like, you know what? I'll just take it home. If I don't want it, I'll get rid of it. Because
They're getting goodwill. Yeah.
he was so
And
excited to give it to me, but I don't, we'll see if
yeah.
I want it or
Well, and
not.
lifestyles have changed. I mean, we don't even set a table anymore. I mean, we do buffet, that kind of a thing. Things have changed. And so the days of fruit cup dishes don't even exist. What is that? What is that one little plate? Well, that was when we had a fruit cup with dinner, and you're like, a what? Or a actual dessert cup, and you're like, I don't even know what that means. So it's having to do with the evolution of the lifestyle as well, and those are things to honor. Now that said, regifting and bringing that fruit cup or that dish to actually, the Goodwill, the Salvation Army, whatever it is that you're thrifting it to, is a gift to somebody else. And so regifting is very important because somebody might take that fruit cup and make it a candle holder.
Mhm.
So these are gifting forward moments that we can feel really good about instead of saying, nobody wants my china, you know.
It sounded a little bit like your mom.
Like my mom. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, so one other thing I want to bring forward is while you're purging, don't forget at this point in time also, especially if you are dealing with, like you said, I'm getting back to being more mobile, I'm doing this small sound bites again, but also things like the traditional things. I was going back and I did a massive Celtic salt and baking soda bath the other night. And it's just unbelievable to go back to like Edgar Casey kinds of things, using, castor oil on your tummy with a hot pack or whatever it is in the winter is akin to let's do a purge for toxicity in the bathtub. And really making a commitment to getting metals out of you and making a commitment to get toxins out of you. I had another client the other day that had mold and has been struggling. And I'm like, how much are you doing salt bathing? How much are you purging that out of your actual skin? And she's like, I'm not. And I'm like, well, then there you go. It's self
Mhm.
responsibility beyond medical care in terms of holistic things that are really simple. I
Yeah.
mean, baking soda is pretty simple, and we can really, really do a lot of movement forward in purging or shedding within the cell structure if we commit to that stuff.
Mhm.
So these are important things to understand. And then it's funny because I automatically felt like I wanted to get out of that kind of a tub and go slap on, like some lotion. And then I'm like, no, because then you're sticking perfumey chemical crap right on back, so be smart about those kinds of things and do your own studies too if you choose to do that stuff.
Yeah,
Because
reading ingredients is really important on a lot of
yeah,
those things. You don't understand how many things, especially have aluminum in them.
right. And
Oh.
those kinds of things like a salt bath can take out the leads, the aluminums, the all that stuff because we're constantly putting that into our bodies.
Mhm.
And we really underestimate that. And I think that those are things that can help our joints. Those are things that, I'm gonna go do the salt bath and help my joint. Gosh, I feel so much better. And then 2 days later I suck. Well, get in the bath again. Come on. So I think these are choices that we can make if we choose to extend the purging. And then ultimately, that's the physical field mostly. The mental field is the belief systems. The emotional field is really important also to really be digging deep into the old wounds.
Mhm.
And again, if you choose to follow the chakra system, understanding of it, which by the way is all on my website and free, understanding the consciousness behind the chakra system.
Mhm.
Am I purging old feelings because my gut is so off? Am I purging, not using my voice because my throat is all locked up? Am I purging who I'm carrying in my backpack because my shoulders feel so rounded and I can't stand up straight? These are consciousness purges that are not just in alignment with a spring. They're so important all year long, but they are really good to do in conjunction with everything else. So all the fields are working together.
Yeah, that is super important to go through because and when you were talking about the mental, get off of the gerbil roller coaster, the
Ugh,
wheel of thoughts that are negative, and catch yourself
yeah.
so that you can replace those with something positive. And then on the emotional side, it's um, acknowledging, the triggers. Like, why did I just feel that emotion? Like, is
Hmm.
it mine to start
Hmm.
with? But is it really something that's in me that is triggered by whatever
Yeah.
that just was? And why is that? Because you just automatically get going, go to work, go do the things, and you don't really acknowledge some of these things, and
Yeah.
that's what takes time.
And I love the self-questioning because that is so important also is to say, is this mine?
Exactly.
Which brings me to the biggest layer of this because we are going through such an extraordinary transformation in this planetary existence, do not underestimate how much purging is being done in spaces and places holographically that you're not aware of.
Oh,
And so, spring purge or purge period, especially spring purge, get rid of the electronics, stick down the game, the gaming crap, walk away and go outside and take a walk without talking on your cell phone the entire time.
right.
Get away from a lot of the frequencies and algorithms that are chasing you down. I mean, I was watching a TV show the other night and a TV show, and Facebook had an Airbnb ad on it for the place that the TV show is placed in. I have never looked into that before. The cross-referencing on our machines is
Yeah,
unfathomable. So
right.
when we're purging on a collective level, because so many workers and light workers are activating things, which will then bring forward all kinds of frequencies that can trigger you in places and spaces that you're not even aware of in
Hmm.
your psyche, in your consciousness, in your Akashic record, in your soul, in your past lives. There's all kinds of purging happening, which will also trigger. So purging does also trigger
Hmm.
in a collective layer. So be very clear that you are being kind of toyed with in a cosmic
Hmm.
purge, okay? And certainly toyed with in a collective programming because of the purge. Meaning, if there is a huge light worker purge to get rid of shit in the hologram that is old programming, let's say hero programming, right? The collective algorithms are going to find in anybody that still has a victim program running a way to fill you right back up again.
Oh my goodness, really? I didn't think
So,
of it that way from the collective. Like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Or on the other hand, it can also work to your advantage, but it's not fun. Meaning, if there's a collective purge in, let's say, sexual abuse, if there's a collective purge in human trafficking and sexual abuse happening in a physical form, that's emotional, mental, and spiritual also. If I was sexually abused as a child, I am going to reboot that. So this is not always fun, but it's an opportunity for me to even clear out my cobwebs even more. So these are really bigger ways to understand that purging is happening regardless if you're doing your own.
Right. Right. Which that is so interesting because people don't, if they're not in that space to pay attention, to what is
Yep.
kind of the norm for them, they're not going to see that and understand why they're behaving or reacting the way that they are.
And this doesn't mean that it's only going to affect spiritual people. In fact, it kicks everybody's ass because
Everyone.
let's even around the Easter time period, let's even look at this. I mean, and again, I'm not knocking anybody's belief systems if you're totally into your Catholicism or your Christianity or your whatever, dogmatic thing you are doing, so be it. But I'm talking energetically. Energetically, a lot of light workers are working very diligently on removing what we would call the hero program or the savior program. But right around Easter, the Hero Savior program is going through the roof because we're
Mhm.
all, oh, in church and singing, all the hymns and doing all the old, outdated things that are just filling that program. And
Mhm.
so we don't know we're filling the program by singing automatically in church and doing all the stuff in church and wearing,
Right.
the certain things. And we don't know that we're filling that program right up again. But if I'm the kind of a person who is still struggling with, I have to be the hero so that everybody loves me, I'm going to get hit even again,
Mhm.
higher, stronger, that now I got to prove myself even more around this Easter period. And I don't even know I'm doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Um, that makes a lot of sense to me because when we've talked about this before and other, but when you're continually, having to rework on something that you thought you already dealt with or that you released,
Yeah.
it's this like it's the consciousness triggering
Yep.
that may just totally opened a light bulb for me. So thank you for that because it's triggering what is already it's still there. It's
Well, it
still
has to be there. Now
yeah.
there's a difference between purging and being there. Because Kim can purge and purge and purge sexual misery, for example, if that was one of your things of sexual misery, and the sexual misery program is being taken out. But if I'm purging, well, let's do you and the hero because that is one of yours. Not to throw you under the bus, but around the Easter season, the old Kim was
Hmm.
very aware that I have to have the right napkins. I have to have the right, the right cups to match the napkins for Easter because everyone's coming over. I mean, that was, we've admitted that with ourselves and others.
Hmm.
That be the one as everything's great. I'm going to work my ass off. Okay. So if that's purging out here and you've actually done really great work, like I just don't care. I'm going to throw out paper plates and you guys fend for yourself. Okay,
Hmm.
it still can come out sideways because maybe within the thing where I've done really great with family gatherings. I don't have to do that madness. I don't have to scream. I don't have to be on my floor scrubbing
Yep.
every corner of the house. I can just let it roll. That might work for that 48-hour period, but it is the fringes around it where you're still getting your ass kicked on. Do I still have hero programming?
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Hence when I
Actually,
fall down the stairs and I twist my ankle.
I know, because I'm like, I gotta get that extra load of laundry in and do the, yeah, whatever. But funny story is I had mixed match bunny napkins, that were from all these different years.
That's great.
And at least three people said, "Oh, these napkins don't match. Like, where did
Oh my God.
I got a different napkin than you got?" Like, and I'm like, "What is
Oh,
happening?"
that is hysterical. Do you want to know what mine did? I found these really lovely, beautiful, brand new, antique, old cloth napkins that are all scalloped on the edges with the actual hand done and the butterfly and the whole 9 yards. Beautiful,
Oh,
right? Got
yeah.
them at a church sale for like 5 cents or some 50 cents or something, right? And there was a dozen, and they were perfectly clean, perfectly pressed, and I just threw them on the table. Because I mean, and we did a buffet thing, and I actually had plastic plates, so I figured, oh well, whatever. And I had regular napkins out next to them, meaning paper.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, those are really nice napkins. I don't know, should we use those?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So, I mean, I think it's so funny that humans have these like, these little things that they do. And it was so
Yeah.
funny. And then my dad, on the other hand, because he's so old and he can't see and he doesn't understand half of the world lately, he smashed his all up because he thought it was paper and he threw it in the garbage. And I'm like, Dad, that's
It's a cloth napkin.
so, the belief systems still roll around in our heads like, should I do that? Is that too
Yeah.
nice to use? I mean, what is that? Is that too nice to use? And I'm like, I don't care if you get, who cares? I'll throw it in the wash, you know?
Oh my gosh. I laughed hysterically by that because I'm like, really? You guys notice that the napkins don't match?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Oh,
so funny how we extend our belief systems into our immediate families.
yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
think that those are cute stories that we can really see how we are all doing it together.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, purging has been very interesting for me. So
Yep.
I'm glad that we were able to share this one with everybody.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. And
Thank you
great
for
time
all
of
the
year.
input. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was fun flipping it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love that. That's been fun. All right. On behalf of Kim and I, happy spring.
Yes.
And really take what resonates on this, find your own things, do your research, especially when you're doing things in terms of the physical body to release things also, because there are some things that work for some and not for others. Like I said, a lot of that really simple stuff can really take care of some big toxicity. So think about that if you choose.
Yep.
And in the meantime, maybe hit share, maybe hit like, and talk about it and get us out there because we're here to help you and we love being here for you in any way, shape, or form. Maybe shoot us a question once in a while. You can always go to sworthley.com for
Mhm.
anything, giving us information, or sworthley at Gmail if you want to have a subject matter. Also, I would love to entertain more of this put Suzanne
Yeah.
on the spot thing. So that was
Yeah.
fun.
It would be
Thank you.
fun.
All
Yeah.
right. Till next.
Bye,
Cosmic
everybody.
Hug.